substantial risk of loss. Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. It started before the light went green. Okay, well, so we have a CPI number today, and that's pretty much the biggest thing. We did have a little bit of movement overnight, but nothing super significant. Treasury is a little bit higher from yesterday. E-mini took quite a dive. Not quite a dive. It wasn't anything like 2 days ago, but they did struggle. They did end close to the lows. So Apple in particular seems to really be hurting the market. So unfortunately, we have a situation where some of the market leaders are just peaked. I mean, that's just my reading of it, is that Apple is on the way down. But anyways, doesn't really matter. CPI news is all that matters. So I have a little bit of food, so I'm going to keep eating. We got like 13 minutes. So you've decided Okay. By the way, how's our Bitcoin? Oh, it was much bigger fall last night. Tomorrow is the big day, and I find it very interesting and somewhat concerning that we've been down for now the past today would be counting today 1 2 3 4 5 I don't know if we can really count that 6 days. So 5 days in a row now that Bitcoin has been down. The futures are actually moving up a little bit into it. And Bitcoin Cash looks not so good. Well, let's just highlight this and post it in the channel. I wonder why is it that the Bitcoin price is going down, but the futures aren't going with it? What is the reason? Well, the big thing that's happening is Bitcoin Cash tomorrow. So that could be a factor. That's a lower low, too. When you look at it there, let's duplicate it in a new window. Oh, not in a new window, in a new tab. Duplicate in new tab. And we'll just do it like a day. 1 day. So it's not quite as bad as it was in October. They were at 6,000, but it is deeper than the end of October. Well, that's a terrible chart. Yeah, you just have to use the crypto watch for the bigger one. Well, what are the expectations going into this? Let's see what they're looking for. Okay, so they're looking for point. So previous month was 0.1, and they're looking for 0.3 and core at 0.2. And core is going to matter.
Just heads up now, we're 3 minutes until the bottom of the hour and the of the US data. CPI month on month looking for 3%. Year on year looking for 2.5%. Core CPI month looking for an 2%. Year on year looking for
the estimates don't really make sense to me. I think just in case.
Just in terms of ordering, I will lead with CPI month on month, followed by year on year into core month on month, year on year, and then real weekly earnings.
Let's try that. Is there anything else today after this? Oh, FOMC member Quarrel and Powell are both speaking today. Okay.
1 minute. Yeah. 10 seconds.
Go.
What 3% for month on month, year on year,
Okay.
coming in at 2.5%. Core CPI month on month coming in at 2%, year on year coming in at 1%. Real weekly earnings month on month coming in at spot 1%. Higher revised down to minus spot 1% from spot 2%. Repeat that, CPI month on month coming in at spot 3%. Year on year coming in at 2.5%.
Okay. So basically in line with expectations. And the E-mini likes that. Well, that's very interesting. Energy prices rose 2.4% from the previous month, while food costs fell 0.1%. Expenses for medical care rose 0.2%. These readings often vary from results for this category within the Fed's preferred measure of inflation due to different methodologies. The CPI is the broadest of the three gauges from the Labor Department because it includes all goods and services. About 60% of the index covers the prices that consumers pay for services ranging from medical visits to airline fares, movie tickets, and rents. Yes, okay, did come back down. Interesting. Okay. This isn't the best risk reward to be place to be taking it, but it does kind of look like they want to push further. Look at you mean to go. Hmm. I'm still not seeing a huge offer being put on here. And this isn't pulling in the 5-year. So I may have gotten in at the wrong spot. Let's give it a little bit of space though. The E-mini does not look done to me. Yeah, that's not very positive either right there. And they're absorbing at 15 too. Hmm. Where do you mean to go? They might actually come down here and break these lows now. It's like impossible to get filled on limit in this action.
Chinese news via the SEC Journal, yuan rate stability is more important than reform.
Let's see. Foolish, foolish, foolish. Kind of having a hard time getting a turn that I really like. So I really like it when it goes down and I'm impulsively clicking in even though I know I should know better. And then when it's actually in the spots that it would be okay to do something, I'm like, I don't want it.
Corporate debt issuance, Dow DuPont announcing up to an 8-part US dollar bond to help finance its spin-off.
Now that tick down did not really correlate with what the mini is doing. Yeah, they're messing with the book a lot. that sucks. There's a potential place to sell, but the look right now, it seems, is up. The news made the treasuries move up. We're getting higher lows in the 5-year. I don't want to go short. I could be getting out here, but I don't want to go short. And of course, if I bought there, it's probably just gonna turn around on my face. I think the E-mini should take another, attempt at the high and maybe come short. And then start to range. Yeah. Okay, curious that they're fighting there. So it does seem like that they're buying it. That's all it's gonna give us, huh? Okay, so there was a little bit of a sell there in the E-mini in the 5-year. Tried to push up, but there's a big order at 12. Okay, it moved. And actually, it moved up. It's been a while. It's been a few days since we've seen that big spread trader, but I think he might be in there. You gonna move his offer up? Okay, so he's not pulling at 11.5 now. They're not hitting into it per se either, though. They could start doing it if the E-mini takes a, decides to move down here. I would rather have that down here, but if we've seen this before where they can kind of move towards it. Okay. This is a spot where I got to be very attentive because when I see that, it tends to move. Okay. Came down. Although that's mostly the E-mini doing its thing. Came up a little bit. Man. That's interesting. Not doing so hot.
Just a heads up as well, just under 10 minutes time, top of the hour, we get the start, of course, of the Brexit cabinet meeting. Saying these cabinet ministers are now arriving.
Yeah, their ES goes down. Or rather, ES goes up. There's a lot of profit taking there. Oh, what am I thinking? This big thing in the 5-year. So that's stacking. It's fluctuating like almost 1,000. This is not a good trade, guys. Why am I buying it? How many times did I buy it there? That was a buy and that was a buy, but that was a sell. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. I'm just not seeing the spot at all.
UKPM may expected to speak to 2 Irish lawmakers at 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday, according to the. So to read that, UKPM may expected to speak to 2 Irish lawmakers at 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday, to the UTV.
Block buy.
Hearing from Kate McCann saying, just ask Geoffrey Cox if the cabinet is happy with his legal advice. He mouthed, wait and see. Looked cheery enough.
No, ES went down first. ES went up first, 100%. Well, this is kind of is an interesting behaving area. The E-mini is moving up again. Came off of that one really fast. So that was enough to get served to come out. That's interesting. Yeah. So this is heavy offers above us in the 5-year. And the 10 years, they kind of got it too. 10-year kind of has it too. E-mini definitely took a break there. We could maybe come back a little bit. But is that going to push us up through this liquidity? That's my big question. So there was some indications that there are some indications that there's people buying down in here. There was that block buy earlier. What was it at? 135. Okay. So they're hitting into it. Okay. That's curious. Okay, 800 is below. Can you see it? It ticked up and they bid 5. Now they're bidding more like 800. Maybe that'll build over 1,000. And the 5 years, looking to go bid at 10.5 again, and maybe they hit into the 10.75. The mini is having a little bit of a back and forth, although I think that the sellers are going to want to push it down. No, they're not. Well, now that they've ticked up, it is not quite as big as it was, is it? And in fact, some of those offers moved up. So some indications that they think this is a pivot. Yeah. It didn't. I only see 113 printed there. I'm not quite sure I understand what the deal is with that. Oh, okay.
Just in Brexit update, hearing from a FT Brussels correspondent saying EU officials cite that any Barnier presser wouldn't happen before 7 p.m. at the earliest tonight.
So seeing 4,500 bid and it not moving is really weird to me. Okay.
Telegraph political editor saying two members of the cabinet will resign today, Mordaunt and McVeigh.
That was a good uptick too. Now granted, there's size. There is size in the 5-year. Still. I had to sit in here a long time. The other thing that's curious is that the E-mini is it actually moved up a little bit and we haven't reacted to it. Now if the E-mini comes off of that and goes back down, then I think we'll probably get a few more ticks up. A little bit of a reaction. Nope. Only like 100 pulled. Buying looks aggressive in the E-mini. This could be let's up this so we can see that a little bit better. You see that? There's actually more delta on this, and they're not making a new high. There's no buying spike on it though. See, they're kind of building up volume, and now, so maybe that means that the spike is yet to come. Let's see. I don't know about being right in these markets. Many times I've been wrong and still gotten paid for it. Well, this is a place where I think that the E-mini is going to want to try and sell. But I'm not really seeing the Treasuries saying that they really want to move it. I like this big bid here at 14 though. I think that we could sit here for a little bit and kind of base and then move up. It might take until the E-mini open though. Like they might just sell the E-mini open. Oh, you can't see my face. Yeah, let me turn that back on. Ace Trades tried to short it again. 27.42, huh? Oh, that's actually a really good price, though. Thought about going short again at 27.43. Yeah, I don't know. Market's behaving kind of weird, in my opinion. And I don't think that they've completely made up their minds about which way this is going to go. The question in my mind is, why does ES like this? Now, if inflation's not so bad, and they're less likely to raise rates, then that would be good. I want to make a joke about it being better without your face. But no, I think that if treasuries were moving down, or sorry, were moving up. See, if treasuries were like really moving up, and I don't know. Does that make sense? If we knew the answer to that, we would be billionaires, yeah. I mean, sometimes the market starts a move. When you get a trend, there's a really clear reason. Well, not a really clear, but after the fact, you can point to a clear market thesis that won the day, you know? For some reason, they're buying the E-mini based on that inflation number coming in line with expectations. Now, if the E-mini if treasuries were moving up, which means that the chances of a rate hike was less, and then the E-mini moved up too, then that would kind of make sense to me. But that's not what's happening. They're inversely correlated right now. And what we had was the E-mini moved up and treasuries moved down. So I don't think that the E-mini is moving because of treasuries. So then I have to think, okay, so what would it be about the inflation number that they think is good? And to me, like having that PPI number being so big is like producers are being squeezed. That's not good for equities, right? So that's why I'm kind of confused. I don't want to say like that's why I'm in the trade that I am, but it's kind of making me weary of like keeping a trade and like wanting to hold it for like a really strong trend. Now, if the E-mini retraces it, then that would make a little bit more sense to me. Because maybe it was just a trade and it's going to come back, you know? I do kind of see this is kind of interesting because it is forming some head and shoulders patterns, but the cumulative delta is actually more and more long. And the treasuries continue to actually hold a little bit higher. Okay, so now they come back down and there was only 1267 traded at 14. That's not good. Yeah. See, it's not holding. It's time to bail on the trade. If you wanted to buy, this would be the spot to do it. And that's where this kind of makes it hard, because if it goes through us, then it means that they're puking. Hmm. Why are you long here? Well, I had a good when we were back here and I took it. It was a good trade. Now, not so much, and we're kind of looking to see. It's kind of in a spot where it doesn't really make sense for me to just drop it, but weak CPI. Yeah, we are below the 830 Eastern level. It definitely seems to me. I mean, the thing is it appears to me that the only reason we're moving the way we are in treasuries is because of the E-mini. And I don't know if they think that it was just weak inflation data good for treasuries or what, but the longs there, I mean, when they moved up, it was good. They had good stacking and stuff. There were some really positive things, and I thought, okay, the E-mini might retrace here. But then, what did they really get? And when it came back down, they pulled. It came back down so easily. Yeah, correlation with NQ is decent these days. But yeah, the correlation has been really heavy. It really makes it frustrating to trade ZN sometimes when the correlation is there because you'll see the correlation, but then if you actually take a trade in it, it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, well, that took us out. I'm frustrated because I did try going short. Um, I tried going short, but I tried going short at bad prices. I tried going short like here, and it came up on me. So then I thought, well, maybe this range will hold, and then it didn't. Order flow is just tricking me today a lot. Man, the E-mini is a war zone. Look at that. If NQ pukes and ZN can't catch a bid, it's a lean to sell. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of the way that I've been playing. But when I see that, though, I tend to just stay out. Or I prefer to stay out. Look for an exit if I'm already in something. Unless I really think that a certain level is going to break. I really thought that the E-mini was going to bust this right here. I really thought that the E-mini was going to come down at the bottom of this. But then I saw that the delta was actually going up through there, and I realized that it wasn't going to happen. And before I knew it, I was down two ticks when I should have taken the +2. Well, now they are pushing down. So this is where it's like, well, okay, so why don't you just sell into it? But do that, and then the mini's going to reverse. See, like this to me was a good long. There was some buyers there. On the that hit into it, and somebody was absorbing. But then we've ticked up. They were kind of setting up a level break setup to go further, but they didn't hit it. And the E-mini open is mostly selling, and UB is buying significantly. And well, in the 10-year it was a good move down, but in the 5-year they didn't actually make a new low. That could just mean that they're not done. I don't know. Oh, yeah, there is Powell later in the day. That's a good point. So I guess the thing that's working against this is still that there's some pretty strong offers in the 5-year. Although that was a good tick up. The seller's really strong there now. Maybe I take one and try and get back in, but I'm not sure if that I would actually be able to get back in. I still like it long. I can see that they might hit back into 13 and I might be able to get another fill. Yep, see, that's exactly why I didn't do it. Wow. Okay. Well, now look at the 5-year. That's a monster. never seen that before. I've never seen that before, but that said, that was a little impulsive. So of course they are stepping back a little bit, especially in the 5-year. Sorry, especially in the 10-year. Well, I guess it's only come back a tick, right? See, the E-mini really came up there, though. That's curious. Yeah. E-mini is price action is extremely disorganized at the moment. Okay. E-mini's kind of in a weird profile. Get below that, then maybe we could get more selling. But then it's really, where is it? It's really this spot right here. Matters. Okay, so a little bit of support in this area. Sellers look pretty insistent though. Yeah. Did ZB bounce off of the 04? No, he was short that whole time, I think. I'm not saying that it's going to get up to 19, but I think that I should be able to manage this by hand. I only want that for if something crazy happens. Um,
Just a quick look at the FX pairs now. Dollar yen just below the 114 handle at 113.95, while cable just around the 129.75 level.
So they've built a much stronger profile here. I'm a little curious as to how ZF was able to plow through so many orders like that and not be just skyrocketing. But that's maybe a signal that I might need to get out of this. Only a 200-day moving average. Okay. So absorption at 13.5 is good. E-minis really fighting it out there, though. They kind of look like they want a new high.
News now. Reuters sources that Rio Tinto is to make a big in tech resort project.
Okay, sellers prevented that one for now. It doesn't mean they've won the day or anything. Buyers could just come out of nowhere and just smash it. That's interesting. ES just wants new highs, guys. I don't know what the deal is. Notice though that the E-mini made new highs, but the Treasuries did not make new lows there. In fact, the 5-year didn't even come close. How come this channel doesn't That new high in the mini is suspect, very suspect, because they did not make a new high in cumulative delta, and look, they're almost back down to the lows in cumulative delta very, very quickly. Like, they spiked up and now they're back in the range. You know what? If I can... Second order didn't get filled. Okay, so a robot sold 14. No, it was 14.5.
In 10 minutes' time now, the Fed's quarrels will be appearing before the House Financial Services panel.
Okay, but buyers do appear to have a good front built up here. Here's this range right here. So if they can bust through, maybe 27.41 would be maybe where they break, but new lows in cumulative delta. Why do I watch ES? Because it's the one in control right now. Seriously, whether or not we go down here, like below 130, or we move back up to the VWAP, I think is 100% on whether or not the E-mini pushes below 2741 and pukes, or goes back up and makes a new high. Okay, so they did do it. Thing to also watch at MoCos, I don't know what that means, but correlation in play is oil. Yeah, so you're not the first person I've heard talk about watching the correlation with oil, but, well, for starters, I don't have it up very often because it kind of, when it gets crazy, it kind of stresses out NinjaTrader, but I haven't really seen. I don't quite understand how to play that particular one. I've never seen like a clear correlation when I've had the DOMs up and stuff. Okay. Well, they are breaking through the bottom, not quite. 2738 that is holding down there is still the bottom. Okay. So it seems to me that treasuries are still very heavy, though. Interesting that that's not. So the E-mini came back up there very quickly.
So if this is a link onto a board on Twitter page to watch the testimony live.
Okay. Wow. So did oil came back a little bit yesterday? Huh?
Brexit news now picking up on a tweet from Kevin Schofield, political at home editor. Very strong chance that David Mundell will be resigning from the cabinet, he understands. Huge anger among the Scottish Conservative MPs about special treatment of Lord Nannan's in draft withdrawal agreement. David Mundell was considered one of the pro-EU compromisers in the cabinet.
Well, now that I'm seeing this big bid down there, it kind of changes my tune a little bit. I'm a little bit concerned now. Okay.
There's more from Kevin Schofield there, also understanding that the withdrawal agreement has a special carve-out. US Justice Department as well has released their legal opinion supporting Trump's appointment, acting Attorney General William.
See, the mini's pointed down, but the treasuries aren't catching a bid. Okay, that's a little better. And there's just a really, people want to buy it there. It's too strong of a support zone. Okay, that bid is holding.
Merger market news now that Mexico's central bank
I thought so.
is said to be resigning.
I thought so. And last little turn looked different. So do they have enough in them to move to the VWAP? In the E-mini? I don't know.
Bit more on that resignation from the Mexico Central Bank, said to be due to health issues.
That last little one didn't look too positive for buyers in the E-mini. Too clever. Okay, well this is working out well. Happened a little bit more than what I thought it was. So like I wanted to. I thought these would all get filled, and now that they're all getting filled, I'm kind of like, I don't know if that was a good idea. I like that the 13 is still having trouble getting filled.
Bit more Brexit speculation. Adam Payne now tweeting that lots of speculation that Scottish Secretary David Mundell said Brexit deal. Scottish Conservative told him that they expect him to go today. Here's political news now. Key Democrats saying trade deal needs changes to pass. So again, key Democrats saying that it does need to pass.
Oh, okay. I mean, I got it at 14.5, right? Yeah. So it's okay. I didn't mean to get out of that.
Democratic comments coming from Bill Pascrell, line to chair the trade subcommittee, saying that Trump does need more enforcement in the USMCA treaty.
Well, the E-mini is slowing down a little bit here. There's a huge volume node here. Treasuries actually kind of liked it when it happened. They stacked, but then it pulled again. Look at that. This hasn't flipped yet. They gonna flip it? Yeah. Quite easily, in fact, that it doesn't. Nice. You gotta be careful here because this is the open price now. The E-mini is bouncing off of a standard deviation. And that stack at 150 is not really, didn't really super squeeze people. And there is a big order at 116 as well. So I think this is a good spot to try and get out. Now let's see, I didn't like that. A little bit of a flip. Okay.
some US political Donald has been re-elected.
Well, Yoda took the same spot. I did not exactly play this. I mean, I got 9 ticks out of it, out of, what was it, what? 1, 2, 3, 4? That's not bad. But it wasn't super amazing. I think I could have done a little bit better. And of course, the risk that I took on to get that wasn't equal. Like, I had 2 contracts here, and I only took 2 ticks out of it. That's not right. Should have held some of those a little bit more. Like the original one that I had, I had it like 1 tick above, and I was going to take, I should have had that at a profit, and then I should have let the 2 contracts right up to there and then taken those off. Iger pointing out that the bonds held at some important levels.
Based on equivalence.
That's just so the thing I'm going through my head right now. I'm out. Okay, I don't think I'm going to take another trade. I'm only down 1 tick today. That's crazy because I made so many bad calls. I could have done so much better.
Facebook post here that won't be finalized till after Brexit.
Man, I had it right. I mean, that's the thing that kind of makes me mad is that I had it right. You know, wasn't none of these spots were wrong per se. Well, I mean, not the spots. None of these trades were wrong per se. It was just the spots were wrong. That's where it's like being right doesn't mean shit. Right? So you have to have the right price and all of these other things. You're better off being lucky. But I wouldn't call that stellar trading there for sure. It's pretty bad. But I like this trade. I really like this trade. At 13 to 15.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 9 ticks out of it. So I was able to improve it by 3. Yeah, you could have been. You can mess around a little bit with the 2 contracts like that, but gotta be careful about where it is. Because the thing that made this one good, I think, was that I got filled at 13, and then I knew that 13.5 was an easy price to get filled at. So I was like, oh, well, I could just take 1 here. And then when it went, it came up, and that allowed me to be able to get the higher thing. Sometimes I think that what I'll do is, or there was a one where I thought it would come back to 13, and so I took the 3. But sometimes what will happen is it'll go through all these, and then it'll go through that, and then you're like, fuck. You know? So I think the 2 contracts thing could work, but you could be really careful about where it is. Or it could do a, like, you know, put 2 in and then take different targets. That would probably help too. VWAP and now resistance. I should have paid attention to the VWAP standard deviation line, but I was anticipating it breaking to the upside. I mean, seems like we're oversold right now in the short term. Okay, so now the E-mini is pushing way. They got a little bit more to go. And interesting that my VWAP is expanding a bit. Well, I'm not sure why it got to there. I think maybe my how far back I look is perhaps too much, but because I'm looking at like, let's come back in here into indicators. So where am I? I'm looking at the last 2,000 bars. But I think there's more than 2,000 bars in here. 80x says we're trending to the downside. Yeah, this could be. I mean, with all this selling today, if big if, but if the buyers are able to hold things, and here would be an okay place to do it. Okay, they might want to get back to 27.25, but here's an okay place to do it. And if they're able to hold it throughout the day, or maybe even end up higher than 27.25, then this head and shoulders pattern starts to look really, really positive, you know? And I'm a little concerned that the selling that we're seeing is based too much off of one or two stocks. Like the stuff today, this is totally Apple. Well, it's not I don't want to say it's like all Apple, but Apple, everybody downgrading Apple and wanting to get out of Apple is one of the big stories, and Apple is a big mover. It's a big component of the Dow. You know, so you get this thing where it's like if Apple is down, all of the algorithms sell everything, and it's not necessarily justified. You know what I mean? So I'm just not, you know. I don't know what else to say about it beyond that. Man, I feel like I had some really good reads on the market today, but I was just really, really poor decision making. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh no, I think that we may actually fall through here. I sold, and then that was like the wrong spot, and I bailed at -2, and then I bailed at -2, and any of those I probably could have held.
Now saying a no-deal Brexit likely to reduce the UK GDP by 5.2 to 7.8% versus staying in the UK. UK-EU free trade deal likely to reduce UK GDP by 2.6 to 3.9%, staying in the
So yeah, I think I was just not patient enough, you know. They did. I mean, they did. They have cleared 16. Now there's the 12 and 27. Yeah, I need to zoom that out. I have it just enough so that I can see the lines. Yeah. See, there's this big one here in ZF. So they seem to think that maybe that's the end. No. Okay, well, I should be writing up notes now for Bitcoin. Whereas, did anything move while we were doing that? Actually, they did. Was that? Yeah. Another move lower during the morning trading. Bitcoin's getting super interesting.
Some comments now from Fed's Cross. The Fed will.
They're moving down. So when I get out, sometimes I think, should I reverse here? So I almost never do that. I really can't think of a time where I've like straight up reversed after exiting a position and then done well on it. But that one would have worked, at least for a tick. Yeah. It is something that I would like to try at some point, but it's not, I don't think it's huge still, so.
Just be aware the reporter from the FT is saying that the press conference with the Brightest Secretary Rab as well as Barnier tonight has been pushed out to 9:45 local time in Brussels. That would be 8:45 time.
Oh, you know what? We're still going. All right. Well, it is time for me to go. I just posted my notes. Yeah, I actually only, was down by one tick at the end. So my read was actually really good, and that's the only reason why I was able to make that back, because I think some of my decision making in there was really poor. A lot of taking things in the wrong spot, even though I was actually had the overall direction correct. I was, trying to sell into breakouts, so that wasn't very smart. It's kind of reverting back to some old habits, which disappoints me. But it's okay. It's like no disasters, right? So we can work on that. So it'll be interesting to see what the E-mini does, because they're not done. They're far from resolving this. So I will check you guys tomorrow. Should be interesting trading.